Hello everybody, it's Darren here from English Confidence with Darren, and today's lesson is going to be about our solar system. So first of all, a little quiz. So here we have this sound. I want you to try to think, what is this sound? So when I played this sound to my mother, she thought it was either a washing machine or a vacuum cleaner. I didn't tell her it was a sound about space. So what is this sound? Well, it is actually the sound of the surface of the sun. So how did we get this sound? So this sound was recorded by a spacecraft, a NASA spacecraft called the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory Mission, SOHO for short. So this mission has been taking photos of the sun and also making these different recordings. Next in this picture, so we can see what look like stars, but in this blue circle, what do you think is this blue circle here? Well, actually, you are here. So again, how was this picture taken? So this is another NASA mission. So this spacecraft, NASA Cassini mission, which took off in 1997 and was operating until 2017, took this photo from the planet Saturn. At the time this photo was taken, the distance was 1,450,000,000 kilometers. Okay, now what is this? So this is on Earth, but all of these green things in the sky, they look like green curtains in the sky. So what causes this? So actually it's caused by something that comes from the sun. So very, very hot plasma gas comes from the sun. We call this a solar storm. And then this produces solar wind, which is this hot plasma that travels from the sun through the solar system. So let's watch a short video which will explain a little more about this process.
Solar storm reaches Earth. When the solar storm reaches our planet, something strange happens. An invisible shield, the Earth's magnetic field, deflects the storm. The magnetic fields couple together and create a funnel where the gas streams down on the daylight side of the pole. This is the daylight aurora. The magnetic fields stretch further back and couple together. The magnetic rubber band breaks, and gas from the solar storm streams along the magnetic lines towards the poles on the night side. This is the nighttime aurora.
Very beautiful. So these are the aurora. So if you go to some northern countries such as Russia, Norway, Sweden, Finland, even in Scotland, one of my uncles in Scotland often used to see these aurora, something I would definitely love to see during my lifetime. So talking about space, one piece of equipment that is used to study space and the solar system, do you know what this is called? This is called a telescope. So when I was a teenager, actually studying space was my hobby, one of my hobbies, and I did have a telescope in the garden, which I would often use to observe stars and planets at night. So here we have the night sky. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you live like myself in an inner city, this is probably the night sky that you will see most of the time. So why is it like this? This is because of light pollution. So these three are greatly affected by light pollution. So light pollution is light from a city that obscures the night sky. So obscure means to block. So if you live in the city or near the edge of a city or just outside of a city, then these are the kinds of night skies you can expect to see. If, however, you live in the countryside, so rural means countryside, then this is what you can hopefully expect to see on a clear night when it's not cloudy. And if you live up in the mountains, then possibly this is the kind of sky that you are going to see. Amazingly beautiful. So as I said, if you live in a place where the night sky is very, very clear, you can probably see the Milky Way. It's the name of the galaxy in which we live. So our solar system is towards the edge of the galaxy. So when we see this in the night sky, we are looking at the galaxy from the edge, looking in towards the center here. This kind of sky you can see if you go up into some mountains or sometimes on coastal areas if the weather is very clear. So the solar system. So let's break this down into two groups. So here we have the sun. So remember, of course, the sun is not a planet. The sun is a star. So here we have the inner planets. Why do we call them the inner planets? Because these four planets are the closest, nearest to the sun. And then here we have the outer planets because they are the furthest from the sun. So these large planets are called the outer planets. So now a little exercise for you. So can you put the planets in their correct order, starting with those closest to the sun? So what you can do now is you can press pause on this video while you think of your answers. And then when you are ready to continue, you can press play. So again, put the planets in their correct order, starting with those closest to the sun. The names are Saturn, Mars, Neptune, Earth, Venus, Jupiter, Uranus, and Mercury. So press pause, and then when you are ready to continue, press play. Okay, let's continue. So the movement of planets and moons, and indeed our own solar system, is to orbit. So orbit is a verb and a noun. So for example here, to orbit, the planet orbits the sun. Here as the noun, the moon is in orbit around the earth. Okay, so remember orbit is both a verb and a noun. So let's take a look at the answers for the solar system. So which planet is the closest to the sun? The answer is Mercury. Very small planet, very, very hot. And the orbital period, so the time that it takes to go around the sun, one time is equivalent to 88 Earth days. So a very, very short and very, very hot year for Mercury. So the second planet. So which is the second closest to the sun? So the answer is Venus. So Venus is about the same size as the Earth, but Venus is actually the hottest planet in the solar system. Venus is 462 degrees Celsius. So Mercury is closer to the sun, and Venus is the second planet, so why is Venus hotter? So actually Venus is hotter than Mercury because of this very, very thick atmosphere, which makes it the hottest planet in the solar system. So the third planet, I really hope that you know what is the third planet. If you don't know the answer to this, probably you are an alien, you are not human. So of course the answer is the Earth. So at the moment, Earth has a human population of 7.5 billion people, and of course many, many other species of creatures and animals. So the Earth is located in what astronomers call the Goldilocks zone. So what is the Goldilocks zone? this is a zone near to a star, which is not too close to the star and not too far, which means that the temperature is just right for the planet to be able to sustain life. So we are lucky to live in the Goldilocks zone. So how about our next neighbor on our journey? So which planet is the fourth closest to the Sun? So this one is the red planet, as we call it in English, and this is Mars. So on Mars we have the highest volcano in the solar system, and this is called Olympus Mons, which is 22 kilometers high. So now we're going to leave the inner planets and move towards the outer planets, the big planets. So these are known as the gas giants because they are made mostly of gas. Which planet is the first of the gas giants? This one is Jupiter. Jupiter is the biggest planet in the solar system, very, very cloudy as you can see, and Jupiter has many, many moons. So as it stands today, we know that the number of moons Jupiter has is 79, although of course in the future scientists may discover others as they have more missions to the planet in the future. So after Jupiter, we're going to come to see another gas giant. So which planet is the second of the gas giants? This one is Saturn. So as we can see, Saturn has very, very large rings around it. So we can imagine that these rings are actually very, very big. But actually the thickness of the rings is only about 20 meters, but very, very beautiful. Let's continue. So next on our journey, so the next planet is the coldest. So which planet is it? This one is Uranus. So Uranus has a temperature of minus 224 degrees Celsius. That's super cold, freezing cold. And finally, the last planet in our little exercise here. So what is the windiest planet in the solar system? So of course the last planet we have is Neptune. So NASA have recorded from their missions there wind speeds of up to 2,200 kilometers per hour. So that's the end of our mission through the planets, or is it? Well, so we finish with Neptune, and then there is Pluto. So is Pluto a planet, yes or no? Well, for many years astronomers have been debating this, and for a while it was considered to be a planet. However, more recently, because Pluto is very small, and so it is called a dwarf planet. Dwarf means very small. It is very far from the Sun and takes 248 years to make one orbit around the star. So various spacecraft have been sent from Earth to explore the planets and the Sun and the Moon, our solar system in general, but perhaps two of the most famous are the Voyager missions. So we have Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. So both of these were launched from Earth in 1977, so here in September and here in August, about 2 weeks apart. And then they made their way through the solar system, both visiting Jupiter and Saturn. And then Voyager 1 continued in this direction, whereas Voyager 2 continued past Uranus and Neptune in 1989. So where are these Voyagers now? Well, they are very, very, very far. So here is the Sun, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and the dwarf planet Pluto. So actually now the Voyagers are out of the solar system, and now they are going into space. So we call this interstellar space. So inter means between, stellar means stars, between stars. So they are now traveling out into space. So what animal is that? what sound is this? So actually both of the Voyager spacecraft, which were sent in 1977 and are now continuing their journey through space, both Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 are carrying a golden record containing images and sounds of the Earth. So if you want to hear all of the sounds, you can actually go to soundcloud.com, go to the NASA account, and then you can download all of the audio from the golden record, which includes sounds of nature, animals, rain, storms, and also it includes greetings in many, many languages, including English and Vietnamese. So our nearest neighbor in space, of course, is the moon, and the moon is the Earth's natural satellite. Very, very beautiful if you can see the full moon. So what does the moon do? Well, it's kind of locked by gravity into orbit around the Earth. But it actually has an effect on the Earth, which is this here, the tides. So this word T-I-D-E-S, tides, is the rise and fall of the ocean twice a day. So in this diagram here, we can see that the moon has a 70% effect on the tides, and the sun has a 30% effect on the tides. So here we can see when the sun and the moon are pulling, we have this kind of tide, a spring tide. If you have a full moon, you will have this kind of tide. And if you have a neap tide where the moon is in this position, so quarter phases of the moon, the tide is not so big.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
So that's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. So these are the famous words from the Apollo 11 mission, which took place in 1969. It took 3 days for the 3 astronauts to travel from the Earth to lunar orbit. In the early morning of 21st of July 1969, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to set foot on the moon. So Neil Armstrong was the first person, and as he got off of the spaceship, the lander, when he put his first foot on the moon, he said, "That's one small step for man." And then when he put his second foot, so both of his feet were on the moon, he said, "One giant leap for mankind." An amazing day in history. So, of course, you can easily see the moon in the sky. And then sometimes, particularly when we have just after a new moon, after a day or so, then you will see a moon like this in the sky. So what does it mean when it's like this? Well, this bright part here is sunlight reflected by the surface of the moon. So this part is very bright. But we can see this part here is also slightly lit up. Well, this is the light reflected from the Earth onto the dark side of the moon. And this light has a name. This light is called ashen light. So next time you see a crescent moon like this, so usually it's after a new moon or just before a new moon for a few days also, and you can see the moon like this and with the light reflected from the Earth. So what else do we have in the solar system? Well, between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter, we have the asteroid belt. The asteroid belt is made up of millions of asteroids, which are rocks, stretching all the way around the Sun between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. Something else that we have in the solar system, we can see in this picture here, is a comet. So we have the nucleus of the comet here, which is made mostly of ice and rocks, and then we have the tail, which is this area here. So as the comet gets closer to the Sun, the tail will become longer and longer as ice starts to melt from the nucleus. So here we can see the Sun. So here is the orbit of the Earth here, circular. But the orbit of a comet, you can see, is a much different shape here, this elliptical shape. So this is a photo of a comet called Rosetta and a space probe spaceship was sent very close to this comet to take these photos. So to give you an idea of the size of this comet, so it's about 4 kilometers wide, and here we can see this is a picture of Los Angeles in California, and this is how big a comet compares to the size of a city. So let's do a quick review now. So you are here. So let's check the names of the planets here. So the first, second, third, fourth, so the inner planets, and then here the outer planets. So first one is Mercury, second Venus, the Earth, you are here, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So there are different apps that you can use for your phones if you want to explore the night sky just with your phone. So you can use Sky Map, so you calibrate this with the GPS in your phone, and then you just point your phone at the sky and it will show you what you are looking at. So it will tell you the names of the stars, the constellations, and it will tell you if you are looking at any planets. Another one that you can look at is dark moon phase. This will show you also the phases of the moon, so the new moon and the full moon. It also gives you information about where the planets are and how to easily find them in the sky. So there are many interesting and useful astronomy apps available. Just search in your app store for example, Sky Map, Moon Phase, or Astronomy, and you will find lots of these apps. So if you want to find out more, you can watch NASA videos on youtube.com or listen to NASA's podcasts on soundcloud.com. Of course, there are many other videos about space and the solar system on YouTube, so you can spend a lot of time to watch these things and learn about space and the solar system. So if you've liked this video, which I hope you had, please subscribe to my channel. And if you want to study online with me, Darren, then these lessons are 100% online. They are private one-to-one sessions, so this means that it's just me, the teacher, and you, the student, so you benefit 100% of the time that you have with me. And remember, I am a UK native speaker. I am an experienced teacher with over 10 years of experience. I understand my learners' needs, and video sessions are via Zoom. So Zoom is a very easy to use online platform. So if you wish to take these lessons, you can contact me via email or via Zello, and I hope to help you with your English confidence soon. Take care. Bye-bye.